Welcome to the Cincinnati Bengals Talk YouTube channel. This is Bengals on the Brain, and I am Joe Goodberry, and I almost just got a cramp in my hamstring about 30 seconds ago, and that hasn't happened in a long time. But today, we're going to talk about a few players from preseason that I think stood out, that are going to play roles in the regular season for the Bengals. One rookie from last year, right, that I think... Now, I've been high on the guy, so I'm trying to keep it on the low and tease you just a little bit here as I bring this along. I wasn't going to talk about this guy, but listening to the broadcast, and they're like, oh, is he the number 3 back? Is he the number 4 back? I was like, what? And this is during, the preseason game, the win over the Rams, revenge, sort of. It was Anthony Munoz, the great Anthony Munoz, saying, is he the number 3 or 4 back? I'm like, man, Chris Evans is the number 3, if not the number 2. And he's a starting kick returner, it looks like, at this point. So I wanted to highlight a few of his plays. And if you look at the official stat sheet, none of them counted, right? All of his plays were penalties and were called back. And I think there's a little bit of reason why that happened. It'll be interesting to see if that's a negative in the coach's eyes, or maybe even... if that stops him from being used in the regular season, or maybe those go away in the regular season because he's got a more veteran offensive line to run behind. And then we're going to go on to a rookie this year's out of Toledo, safety. The Bengals drafted 3 DBs. They drafted 2 safeties. We saw a lot about Dax Hill. We did that in week 1 after the Cardinals game went over him. He had a good week 1. He had a great week 2. He had an interception. Made 3 plays on the ball in 2 weeks. They didn't play him at all week 3 preseason. Why? He did so good. He looks like he's going to start, or at least be a heavy contributor, when Jesse Bates gets back and fully into it. Man, Tycen Anderson, though, I think no one's talking about him. He's had a great preseason. He's had a very, very good preseason for my expectations for him. For when you draft 2 safeties and you have 2 good veterans, and I think they like Trayvon Henderson. They like Michael Thomas. For Tycen Anderson to play the way he did, I think he's going to not just be a special teamer, because that was my expectation, was like, this is going to be one of your core special teamers. Safeties typically are, backup linebackers typically are, and he did play special teams, and I'll highlight one play he had, but I think he can help on defense, and we'll get there. First segment, though, is Tycen Anderson, and then we'll go to Chris Evans, and I got one play that I think was just fun. We talked about the defensive line rotation last week and the depth guys and the guys like Zach Carter and Rod Johnson and things like that. Well, they had a fun play again against the Rams, and I wanted to highlight that. And that's where we'll go. And we'll start with Tycen Anderson, the rookie out of Toledo. And we'll go all 3 games. We got highlights from all 3 games just to show what he did. This is the longest video of today's show. So make sure if you like these kind of things, it's not always going to follow this format. Next week we're going to do a live show, and you're going to get to ask me questions, and we can talk about everything because there's no game to review. We'll do that probably in a bye week also when we get to it. But Tycen Anderson first. If you like this, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, notification bell, all that stuff, because we got a lot more coming. Tycen Anderson, rookie out of Toledo. Starting off on the left side here. I'll highlight them for you guys. There we go. Starting with the Rams game, going out of order a little bit here, but it's because he caught my eye the most, I think, in this game overall. But I just like the way his awareness started to come up. A lot of these wide receivers coming, clearing him out in that first game, and I think second game he did better, third game even better. Here he is on the right side. And just being able to be aware, like on this play here, he's like, all right, I got to get to the outside. I can't let the quarterback get around me and run free. So he takes outside. It looks like a missed tackle, right? But really, he forced that quarterback back inside, changed directions pretty quickly, and got the quarterback down after, I think it was like a 2-yard gain. So that's a very good play and good heady play to play his position. Again, here, he's going to come down off the play action, bootleg, not give up any ground to that receiver, not going to let that receiver get open either. So as that quarterback rolls out and says, okay, can I get that little leak? It's not there. Okay, let me run for it. Well, Anderson's really manhandling that guy on the sideline, not going to let you block him and force the quarterback to step out of bounds, which, again, very heady play
I think overall this preseason he's played very, very well. We're going to go back to the Giants game now. He's on the left side here in a cover 2 situation, running the ball. Going to come in, dip under that receiver, very similar to that Rams play we just saw. Again, you got to see that guy coming. You got to have that awareness, those peripherals, if you will. Man coverage with a tight end here. Locked him up completely. And as the quarterback comes out to the outside to break the pocket to look for someone to throw, no one's open, right? And he's right on him. Very similar play to the one I just showed again. So that's good coverage. It's heady play. You know, he's showing that physical ability. Here he's in press against the tight end again. Bam. Good, nice stab. And then just in that guy's hip pocket. And then he sees here, right, you got help inside. You better take the outside lane and force that guy either back to that linebacker or to run him out of bounds. And yeah, it's a first down. But, like, he limits it from being much more than that. And that's what you're looking for a safety. I think this actually was what went down as a missed tackle, but getting a hand on a guy and shooting the gap like that, I'm down with it. Played a lot of free safety. Split a lot of his preseason snaps at free safety. This is that play here where he really gets maybe 2 plays where he got a chance to cover it deep, and he does a good job there. Out and up, and he did a real good job. You got Anderson in man coverage here. Slot receiver just going to hook up. That might even be a running back. I don't even know what position it is. Doesn't matter. But he clicks, closes very quickly. Very strong tackle. He eventually gets help from Johnston. Why am I showing you a kickoff? Because he's going to play a lot of special teams. And this is the first game there. Swim move, knifes in between 2 other guys. Goes down as a missed tackle, but you know what? You need those guys that'll penetrate and force the guy to stop and redirect, and he did that exactly. And this is the first game again, the Cardinals game. I'm just showing this one because he lays a nice big hit on this guy. And I appreciate that because he didn't get too many chances to lay a hit, lay a shot. He was a sure tackler in most of preseason here. I like this because you see the communication, right? The guy goes in motion, him and Dax talk about it. They switch up the defense. He's pointing to a linebacker, take the crosser. They got a little cheese in front of you. He doesn't take the cheese, jumps on the drag, changes direction, make sure the quarterback doesn't go any further than that. It's a very heady play. I probably should have slowed that down a little bit more and went over it longer, but this is already a 5-minute video on Tycen Anderson. Nice jam here. Bootleg, guy just running an out route. No one open for him. Anderson, again, really good in coverage on that situation. This is one of my favorite plays, easily. All right, so we got a play action to the left. And we saw some guys leak earlier, right? So Anderson comes down. Is there a leak? Nope, no leak. It's got to be a deep drag or deep crosser behind me. Quickly flips his hips, runs with the guy, does a tremendous job. Heady, athletic. You know, this underrated thing, too, I like with defenders. When they don't like to get touched after the play. This may seem silly to you, but, like, I told this to my son all the time as he's playing, you know, young football right now. Stop letting guys get their hands on you. I don't care if it's a coach or a player. Just don't let anybody touch you. Even if the play is done. These plays are done. Like, the running back's on the ground, and here's Tycen Anderson like, I'll practice a little swim move here, and I'll just keep going and be a little pest. I like that. I like the way he plays. I like the way he finishes this. 2 guys come up, they're just going to stand in front of him like, oh, the play's over, right? No, I'm going to run into you. And overall, just make your day a little bit harder. Tycen Anderson, I think the Bengals got one here.
Man, it's funny because when Dax Hill was drafted, a lot of people were like, is he the Jesse Bates replacement? I can see it. Yep, the way they played him so much at free safety, even though he didn't do it a lot in college, definitely already through 2 games shows the traits that he can be that kind of guy. And then people instantly start questioning, is Tycen Anderson the Von Bell replacement? Is it like, can you do that? Can you hit both safeties right away and replace those veterans and save that money? I didn't think so, but it's 3 preseason games. We can't get too excited yet. We want to see them in a regular season. But as of what I saw already and the versatility of the 2 guys, both guys playing free safety and strong safety, playing in the slot. Tycen Anderson, 122 total snaps in the preseason, 45 in the box, 55 at free safety, and 18 in the slot. Highlighted at least one of each of those. And he looked good doing all of that. I was surprised to see him in man coverage and covering these tight ends as good as he did. I definitely can't wait to see how that develops for him. If you can do that with Dax and Tycen Anderson, man, you're going to have some versatile safeties right there. And Anderson ended up being PFF's 8th highest rookie safety. We'll take that for where he was drafted, right? Dax Hill was 5th, by the way, for rookie safeties. We'll definitely take that. Number 1 defensive rookie for the first round, which Very impressive being the 31st pick overall. But for Tycen Anderson, 14 tackles, just 1 miss based on PFF. He had 5 defensive stops, only targeted 1 time in coverage, no receptions allowed. That's as good as you can do. that's it, unless we had like 10 targets and no catches. But no, free safeties, very often not targeted throughout the game, and that was definitely the case with Anderson. And as I showed, I think there was a few of those that the quarterbacks were looking first or second read, and he's got his guy locked up, and they just either threw it away or they ran with it. So very good on Anderson, very good for the rookie. The Bengals look very deep at safety once again, and that's, in my opinion, I think wide receiver is their strongest unit. But man, now deepest unit, safety. Easy, right? You got 3 good starters. And Anderson, for what he showed, he might be able to step in and give you some minutes this year. Man, that's a deep, deep unit. We'll move on. Segment 2. Chris Evans. What is he? What will he be? Is he that guy yet? All these questions. I think it starts with Joe Mixon. I think it's going to be a much bigger conversation when we go on the live chat next week. Is Mixon more of if he's, because he said, right, when they asked him about the Super Bowl, he's like, the only time I'm going to talk about it. He wants to be out there. He wants to be out there in those clutch situations. He wants to be out there in 2-minute situations, passing situations. Of course he does. That's the game. Then what do you need as the backup? If he's going to be out there, if they're finally going to do it, and man, we've been calling this or asking for it for years. If they're going to do it, does that mean more carries for Samaje Perine? Because I don't think anybody wants to see that. As much as we like Samaje Perine, his value right now is as a pass protector. Could that mean more carries for Chris Evans? And then you allow Joe Mixon to be more effective in the passing game and split the rotation that way. Because I would say talent-wise, Evans is the more talented runner. But as you'll see in this video, he's still raw as a runner. And I think sometimes it messes up the offensive line. Let's check it out.
I'm not going to point him out in this video because he's the guy in the backfield and he's going to be the guy getting the ball every single play, running pretty fast, pretty far. That's second-year player out of Michigan, Chris Evans. What you're going to find out also on a lot of these plays is they're going to be called back due to holding penalties. I'd say Evans probably ran for 120 yards that first game, and none of them counted. In total in preseason, almost none of his plays counted, none of his positive plays. Those first 2 there, bouncing them both to the outside and getting holding penalties, and that's part of his deal, right? He's also going to be the kick return guy, so I wanted to show his one good 40-yarder. That counted. And I wanted to show, like, when you have a back like this that wants to bounce it out, how that can mess up the offensive lineman. As you see right here, he's really going to jab step outside, watch the defender, and ultimately tackles him. He gets 4 extra yards by toying with this defender, by going outside and cutting back in, getting his head on each side of Deontay Smith. And when you're reading that guy and cutting off that guy, you can get 3-4 extra yards out of it. Chris Evans also very natural, very good hands. But the negative part of being such a shifty and sometimes indecisive runner is your linemen don't know where you're going and don't know what you're doing. And I think it's evident on this play as well. As Smith has the guy pretty fine there, it's that little jab left and jab right. And you'd rather him just take one cut upfield here. After you move that guy, move that defensive end, cut up, and you've got 2 blockers at the second level, there's going to be no holding call and still a big run.
Yeah, Chris Evans, man, still talent-wise, I think he's the second best back on the team. Is he a bit of a wild card? Is he dancing too much? Does he try to hit that corner store to, get around the edge a little bit too often? Yeah, I think he does. I don't think offensive linemen like that, right? When you're unpredictable. You got to remember, you're blocking. The guy's running up behind you. Especially if it's zone, he's cutting. You're not always completely sure where he's going. And that makes it tough to block for a guy like that at times. And maybe if he can clean it up or be a little bit more decisive, that will go a long way, I think, into proving to the Bengals what he needs to be. And we didn't get to see much in pass protection from him. Great receiver. I think his hands are natural. I think he runs good routes. I think he can track the ball down the field. Most running backs can't do that. And then he's going to be the kick returner, it seems. Brandon Wilson is not going to be ready. And if he is ever going to be, we don't know the situation there. But I would say as of right now, you can roll with Chris Evans as the kick returner. And actually, it's pretty exciting. I think he looks like he could be very, very good at it. Last play I want to highlight is just a fun one. Just something I saw while I'm watching the tape. And obviously you see the splash plays. Zach Carter had a great swim move. Or it wasn't a swim move. It was actually a rip on the D-tackle for a nice sack, forced fumble strip. They didn't recover it, but still, great play by him, but I'm not covering that one. This is a different one. It's actually Noah Spence and Jeff Gunter splitting a sack. I assume I didn't even actually look at the stat sheet to see if it was a split. Should be a split, but I thought Rod Johnson and Zach Carter deserved a lot of credit, and probably even Lou Anarumo, because you don't get to see this type of blitz as effective as this. But I think when you have two athletic defensive tackles in there with those two guys that have played defensive end in their lives at some point, whether it be in college or even, just last game we highlighted Johnson playing D-end. When you have guys that can do that, you can do a little bit more. And I think that was exciting to watch. I think at the very least Carter is going to help this team somehow. And then Johnson is going to probably make the practice squad, because they don't have another athletic D tackle on the team, and I think that's his role here. So check this play out. I thought it was pretty fun, and just a little quick one. I wanted to show this play from preseason week 3, Bengals-Rams. We got a sack here, and backup quarterbacks, backup defensive linemen. It's preseason type 3 type situation here. But the inside guys, Zach Carter coming from the left, Rod Johnson coming from the right here, are going to twist in the middle. And I like this. 2 defensive tackles. Usually see D-E twist. Put Carter go and put the center on his butt. Rod Johnson gets that free run at the quarterback. Whoa, he's out of there. He doesn't like that at all. The quarterback doesn't want to sit in the pocket. This only works, though, if the edge rushers can win on the outside at the same time, or else that guy probably run for a few yards. And we've got Noah Spence on the left. We got Jeff Gunter on the right. Both guys do a good job. Spence going around the outside, and Gunter going with a power move and cutting back inside there to help split that sack. That's what it looks like, boys. I don't know what this is, though. Someone can tell me. Maybe funky chicken. And that wraps up the show for this week. Preseason's over. We're finally here at the regular season. The show will probably start to evolve a little bit as we get there. I'd like to talk more about what the Bengals are doing and use more data, use some analysis from other people and give my take on it, or explain a little bit deeper, take this time to dive into it, whatever it may be. It could be like 4th down percentages going for it. Should they be punting here? Should they be kicking field goals when you got a guy like McPherson? Does that change the data and how often you should actually kick versus going for it? Things like that. They'll come up as the season goes. Are the Bengals throwing it enough on early downs? Are they running it too much in the red zone? Whatever the case may be, I'll take that data and try and really dive into it. So it's not always going to be deep film. Plus, sometimes the NFL gets weird anyways when we use too much of it. And it's going to be, more discussion stuff, talk about future opponents at times, as well as reviewing games. So that's it for the preseason. Put a bow on it. It's over. We've got cuts already happening. Waiver claims the next day now. It could be depending on when you're listening to this. And maybe the Bengals will go get someone, right? Maybe it'll be a tight end. I think they could use a 3rd tight end. Maybe it'll be a 8th lineman, 9th lineman, depending on how many they keep. Offensive line, of course. But I do think defensive tackle could be on there. If they want to keep running a 3-4 style defense, they may need another defensive tackle. And maybe another run defender type. And maybe another under tackle that can rush the passer or penetrate. Zach Carter looks like he should be fine, but are they losing something still by not having an Ogunjobi level guy that you can have, 3 defensive tackles out there that you feel very good about? Is Josh Tupou that other guy? Can you even find that on the waivers? So, we'll look at that. We'll see who they got next week. We'll talk more. Again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that button. That way you know when these videos come up. That way you get reminders. Hey, Joe's going to be on at 8 p.m. I get to ask him questions next week. I'm excited for that. We'll see you then.